So welcome everybody to the Joseph Land Show on September the 12th, 2022. And it's great to have everybody plugged in. There'll be many people coming into the call, and there'll be a lot of people all over the world listening to this call. And so, Jennifer, my wife and I are just kind of in awe of the reaction that we're getting by doing this call from people who listen to the recording on YouTube or whatever, or send us a private message. It's just been amazing. And I appreciate all of you who are on the call who are promoting this. I was having a call with Shane, who is one of my 8 people I mentor, and I said, I'm just doing this because I love people and I want to encourage people in this time, and it's free. I'm not selling anything; it's free, and so I just think people need encouragement right now. They need somebody they can believe in and somebody who will believe in them. And I'm your guy. So I just want to encourage you guys to go for your dreams. And me, since I was a kid, I've been going for my dreams, and I think my dream today is bigger than ever. It's never too late. You're never too old to get another dream. And I believe that my dream today is the biggest one yet. My wife and I are co-laboring together, building our dreams. And I want to encourage you guys to do that. And one of the things that I want you to do is seriously consider this, is writing it down. Write down what it is you want to accomplish and speak it. We're constantly speaking what we want, speaking over our children, speaking over our business, speaking over our household, all of those things. And, you have to be very careful in this world today because let's see how I want to say this without you thinking I'm crazy. Some people don't vibrate at the level that I vibrate at. All right. And so I'll explain that to you in a later podcast, but I'm going to talk to you today about the 7 places that I don't want to see you wasting your energy. All right. And people who are vibrating below where you need to be will keep you in the city of ordinary. All right. And I want you to be all that God's created you to be. And I want you to, have that positive attractor factor that people want to be a part of what you're doing. And that's what I mean by vibrating. When Jennifer and I walk into a meeting and we're dressed for success and we're ready for that meeting and we've done our preparation, it's like boom, it's like an attractor factor. That's the only way I can. It's like a magnet. And I want to teach you that principle because it's so important that you put your best foot forward with folks always. There's a verse in 1 Corinthians that I want you guys to write down, and I want you to look this up later. But it's 1 Corinthians 16:14. 1 Corinthians 16:14. And it says, do everything with love. And see, that's what my wife has taught me, that love wins. And there are all kind of people that are going to come across your path in a business, and just love them. Just love them. And when somebody has a different opinion than you, just say, oh, great. That's great to hear your view on that. That's awesome. There can never be an argument if you're not willing to argue. Isn't that cool? You don't need to have an argument with someone about what they believe if you just get in agreement with them. Hey, man, that's great. I mean, I never thought about that way, but you know what? I appreciate your viewpoint. I commend you for having that viewpoint. I don't exactly have that same viewpoint, but you know what? I love you anyway. Great to talk with you about that. And when you're not offensive and when you're complimentary to people, man, that wins the day. And I want to make sure y'all hear that from me straight up on this call today. So I'm going to be talking to you all a little bit later in the hour about the 7 places that I don't want to see you wasting your energy. Are you excited about that? And one of them is fixing people. Anybody, you ever tried to fix anybody? You can't. God has to fix them. You can encourage them and love them, but God has to fix them. And so I'm going to be talking to you a lot about that. But anyway, I want to hear from you guys. I want to start with Rachel today. And Rachel, I want you to describe your son. Rachel has a son who's a genius. And he and Elon Musk have some similarities. And Rachel, I want you to tell everybody about what you told Jennifer and me that happened to Joshua over the weekend.
Okay, I'll do that. So my son is very fluent in anything technology. He can build game systems, he can build mods, he can build anything he wants to build on a computer. But when it comes to social interaction, it's a completely different story. And so his goal right now is to socialize. He's 16 and a half. And so we just migrated back to Wisconsin, which is both of our home state, so that he can have a little bit of time here and we can have some extra support for me while I'm transitioning to some of the things that I'm doing. So he decided that he needed a job. I'm trying to get him to do drop shipping. I'm trying to get him to get his life insurance license, which you can do when you're 15, all these different things. He's like, no, Mom, I need to be in society. That's what he says. So I took him to a little local grocery store called Piggly Wiggly. They said, just bring him in, he'll get an interview right away. I'm like, okay. So I told him that. He's like, well, Mom, I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and do that, because obviously the chances are that I'm going to get that position are pretty high. So why don't I just go ahead and do that? You know, he talks himself in and out of it. He has a couple of what I mean, I wouldn't call them meltdowns, but anxiety attacks over it, and then finally decides that we're going to go ahead and go. So it's probably a 2-hour ordeal to get him to go, which is fine, you know, just love him through it. And the only way that he would go was to take his state ID, which is still from Oklahoma, and his social security card, and he had to have them in his pocket because as many wallets as he's had, he can't find any of them right now. So he had them in his pocket. So I take him out there. There's a little store next door, because I mean, heaven forbid, Mom comes into the grocery store with groceries. So I go to the store next door, and I'm just hanging out in the little store next door, and he comes out, he's all done. Said that they'd call him back today. And we stopped at another place, happens to be the very first position that I ever had, was a little waitressing position, a little, I don't know, hole in the wall diner in a town about as small as what we're in right now, maybe 200 people. And so we stopped there. I'm like, dude, I bet you they need help. And he goes in there, he's like, Mom, they need a bus person. So excited, so excited. And then we leave, and he's like, Mom, my social security card is gone. So we look through the whole car, we can't find it, and he's very upset. He's like, somebody's going to steal his identity. His whole life is now shot. Everything we've done is gone, because he's in one of businesses, so I can start building some business credit for him, you know. So everything is gone in his mind. It's all lost. I'm like, well, this is not the way we're going to be. What we're going to do right here and right now is we're going to pray to the angels to guide us to your social security card, because nobody's going to hurt it. It's not gone. It's going to be provided for you. We're going to go get it. That's what I told him. And he's like, no, Mom, no, Mom. So mind you, when you're 16, no matter how much faith and how much remembrance you have, when you're 16, it just goes away. Unless you're absolutely super spectacular, you just deny it. You know, he knows it's there, but he wants to be normal, he says. And so he's not going to adjust himself for that. Plus, with some of the stuff that happened last year, it was very hard for him to have a relationship with God right now. And it's coming back, and it's pretty exciting that it is. So he allowed me to pray with him, and he prayed with me. We went right back over to the stores. I had to go to Piggly Wiggly because he couldn't walk back in and ask for it, and he had to go to the other store. So we switched stores, and somebody, lo and behold, had turned it into the other store with a name on it saying, I found this on the ground, and he got his social security card back. and he was so happy, and nobody stole it, and his faith is getting restored every single day. You can see it in that child. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
That's a great story.
It is. Praise
You know,
God.
what I took from that is God is in all the little details,
Mhm.
all the little details. And Elon Musk has what is it called? Asperger's,
Asperger's syndrome.
and Joshua has Asperger's syndrome. That he
Yep.
means he's just a genius, but maybe socially not so. So, and congratulations to you for all the work you're doing with your son. That's really special.
I mean, he's a very special. God puts people like that in our lives for us to be able to help them and not turn them away. And he's going to have a very great thing. He already does. Very great cause. So
That's great. Well, that's great. Great to hear from you, Rachel. Miles, I want to bring you on. Miles is in Hawaii, and Miles has been talking to me about a new business he's doing, and it involves banking, a bank called Alpen. And Miles, I want you to explain this to everyone. Tom Armour, are you there? Are you here?
Yes,
Tom,
sir. Yeah.
Tom Armour is one of the executive vice presidents of JL Capital, and he knows a lot of the financial things that Jennifer and I do, and is involved with us in a number of things. And so, Tom, I want you to listen very closely to Miles' explanation of this, and I'd like for you two to exchange information so you can talk about it, and I can glean more information from your conversation. So, Miles, take it away.
Well, this Alpen Bank was presented to us, and at first I thought, well, maybe this is just too good to be true, or is it just too good to pass up?
Now,
And there
Miles,
were-
Miles, hold on just 1 second.
Uh-huh.
For those of you who are new on the call or who will be listening to this on recording, I'm all about promoting somebody's business on this call. I don't care what you do or what you're thinking about doing. I'm all about promoting your business. And so on this call, you're going to hear me call out people who have talked to me personally, who have great ideas, and I want them to share those ideas with you because number one, it gives them more confidence in what they're doing. Number two, I've already vetted it. And number three, I think it might have great legs. And so Miles, I want you to share this with everybody because I think you have something here, and I want you to put your information down in the chat for people who want to contact you. Nobody here has to contact anybody. That's another thing. But for people who want to contact you about what you're doing, then I want people to feel free to do that. I'm the connector here. So go ahead, Miles.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much. So yeah, this came across our radar, and we took a look at it, and we set it down a few times, and we picked it back up. We prayed on it, and we indulged in looking at the history of this. There were a couple criteria. I mean, this is paying out at 3% per day. And so, you think, wow, how can that be? So we looked at this bank. It's been around for 15 years, created out of Finland. And in 2017, they went digital. And there's a white paper on that, a portfolio on that. And it explains how they're doing it and how they're even paying out to those, the interest on that they also are creating quite a profit for themselves. They've got quite a few different ways that they are investing. Some of them are over my head in looking at them, but I just looked at mostly the personal or the joint accounts. What else on that? So we really looked at it. We looked at how long has it been around? Is there anybody we can find that has been with this bank? And there's a gal named Ayla. She's out of the UK. She's been with them for 4.5 years, a school teacher out of the UK. She started investing with them. She's made millions with it. She's brought in up to 6 million deposits. When you do bring in someone that deposits, you get paid 10% of what they deposit and 5% of anybody they bring in. again, we kept searching, like, can this really be true? And then we kept asking that question. And for me, with Truth with the Holy Spirit, my hair stand on end. I kept getting that. They even put out a 2022 half of the year financial report. And it's a 29-page report. You just don't make this stuff up. It's possible that someone, but we kept looking, and then we found another person that had been in for 9 months, our sponsor's sponsor. And then our sponsor's been in for 6 weeks. You get over 20,000, it's at 4% per day. That's 20,000, that's $840 a day. We encourage people to get your seed money out, just want to play it safe. You can do that pretty quickly, because within 90 days, you're getting 90% of what you put in. You could take it out, or you let it ride a little longer. It's a very interesting investment. It's a calculated investment. And we've calculated with it. We've played with it. We've deposited. We've pulled out deposits. Everything, you mostly are communicating through WhatsApp or Telegram, mostly WhatsApp. If there is a problem and it's really particular, you put it in properly. You deposit through a crypto. So you convert your cash into a say Bitcoin, and then you say what you want to deposit. You convert that amount at that time into the Bitcoin. You deposit it. It's not, after it's deposited, it doesn't fluctuate whatever Bitcoin does. It stays right at that price you put it in at. And of course, when you withdraw too, you withdraw back to your, say, Uphold or Coinbase. They prefer Uphold or Binance or different other ones, or the Trust Wallet. And we've pulled money out, we put money in. We've only been playing after looking at it for the last 5 weeks, we've just been in for a couple of weeks now, and everything looks true to form. Joseph,
Miles, that's good. Thank you. So what I want to say to everybody is things are changing. Things are changing rapidly. And so be open to what somebody's presenting to you, because you don't know why that's being presented to you at this time. I'll give you, for instance, yesterday, Jennifer and I were driving home, and we were talking. She was driving and I was talking, and we said, how things have changed in the last 3 years in our life. And I think it's great to take stock in that. I remember my father passed away in 1987, and he would be shocked to know that we all have cell phones and, and doing what we're doing, the way we do business and so forth, and Zoom calls and all of that. But things are going to change whether we like it or not. And banking, Jennifer and I also have a substantial investment in a regional bank. And we know that banking is going to change. We know it's going to go more and more, the way it's going. And so, Miles, when you talked to me about that, I was very intrigued by that. And Jerry, I would like for you to take a look at that as well. Jerry Llewellyn and Shane, I'd like for you to take a look at it as well. And Tom Armour, Tom, you're very, your opinion is very valued by me. What do you think about? Have you seen this before? What Miles is doing? It's exciting.
I've heard of some banks doing that type of thing. Yes, I haven't heard of the particular one he said, but I'll check it out. Yes, that sounds very interesting.
And if you just wait to, if you want information, I'll send it to you. If you just Google it, there is like a kickoff that was scamming people on often.biz. And there's a lot of reports, and, so, once you get through there, and right away when that scammer was scamming people, they put out a statement on it, on their in their ledger.
Miles, put your information down there. Tommy, contact him. Jerry, contact him. Tony Fightmaster, please contact him. And anybody who might be interested in digital banking, Shane. But Tony, you were texting me. Tony, I think you're muted, but can you talk now? Tony Fightmaster?
Yes, I believe, Miles, I was just introduced to this by three of my colleagues that I have a lot of faith in, very, very sharp folks. One of them is one of them is it has been into this area for a number of years. He's an IT guy, but he just introduced this to me, and what he explained was very, very similar to what you explained, Miles, and I believe it's the same company. I've actually gone ahead and invested with him. Not a lot. I shared this with Joe the other day. I invested a little bit, and I'm kind of on the front end of it, Miles, kind of like you are right now. But I have close friends that have had phenomenal returns in the last 3 months. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, good.
Thank
Thank you, Tony. Well, I think there's an incentive when you join with someone, you know, everything's referral based. If I go, Jennifer and I took our 3 granddaughters to a restaurant, had them dress up in their little sundresses, and we dressed up and we took them to dinner. Well, we had such a wonderful experience. Guess what I did the next day? I was telling everybody about this fabulous restaurant and how they treated us and our grandchildren. And you know what? They didn't pay me for referring how nice the restaurant was. But wouldn't it be great if that happened? And so, Miles, I salute you for helping people with, this banking idea. And if people can refer people to what you do, then and to get paid for it, I think that's fabulous. So, thank you for that, Miles. And please put your information down in the chat for everybody to be able to contact you and work through you if they're interested. Okay.
Thank you. I did.
All right. Good. Good. Tracy, how are you doing today?
Very good.
Good.
This is very, very interesting. I would be very interested to talk with you, Miles, on this too, because I don't know anything about crypto, but I'm really interested in it and really want to learn. And this banking sounds great because we've moved a bunch of, we've moved some money to Mexico and had, we get pretty good interest, but nothing like what you're talking. And of course, I've done a lot of my own investing and everything. So this is really intriguing to me. So, and Joe, I'd like to talk with you and your wife too, one of these times. So
Sure.
just to run some stuff by you too. So
Yeah, you
great.
just let us know.
Yeah, right.
This is my passion. I want to help people. I want to be a
Yeah.
blessing in people's lives.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to hear from a couple of people that I mentor on a weekly basis.
Right.
I'm going to start with Shane up in Nantucket. Shane is a very, let's see, let me see if I can embarrass her. Jane is a very smart cookie, very sharp lady. And she has a son who's a very sharp cookie too. He was like a big time Wall Street guy and has retired at a young age. And I hold Shane in very high regard because she's creating something I think that's going to be very special as it relates to children. And not only is she, you've heard me talk about her before, she's an artist and a musician and a great business person. And she's also in the health business. And she helps Jennifer and me with that. But Shane, you want to say a few words today? What do you think about Miles' idea, proposal?
Well, anything Miles proposes, I'm interested in because I've been working with him on some health products and it's been wonderful so far. I'm going to check into it and see what I think. It's something that's outside of my comfort zone, so I'll definitely take a look at it.
Great. Jerry, how about you? Jerry Llewellyn. Thank you, Shane.
Thanks, Joseph. I'm very interested in what this is. I don't know what it is, that's for sure. And I seem to hear large variety of things about Bitcoin, about whether that's a good coin to be talking about. So I'm not sure. I see that Bitcoin is kind of one of the cornerstone trading digital currencies. So maybe that's all it's used for. I don't know. I'd be curious how that investment is held and how it generates that type of return. It's all really an exciting idea, that's for sure. Anybody that says 3% a day or 4% a day, and I got to pay attention to what that is. That's pretty serious.
Yeah, you and Miles, make sure you contact Jerry in the chat.
Yeah,
And please put your information in there too. And so
happy to do
I
that.
can get back with you as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Jerry, let me brag on Jerry a little bit. Jerry's a very sharp cookie. He advises the business elite like I do. And I work with him on a weekly basis about some of the things that he's doing with his clients and so forth. And it's been really a thrill for me to see what he does. And you meet a lot of people in your life, but when you think about people that you meet, like in Texas, Jerry is the typical salt of the earth, wonderful human being that everybody should have at their dinner table in their house with their family. That's the highest compliment I could pay this man. He is amazing. And not only that, he's very gifted. Should I say poet? A poet? So Jerry, thank you for all that you contribute.
Thank you, Joseph. I do want to just say one quick thing is what's remarkable with Joseph's mentoring is I've been practicing the principle of edification and really praising various clients of mine, and including one that I thought was like the Titanic, that I'm really hard to move this ship. And this I've seen movement in this individual. He's open and just shocked at how when he's nice to people, they're nice back to him, and they actually want to work for him if he treats them nicely. So I want to really appreciate Joseph and everything that he's doing to support me.
Nobody wants to work for a taskmaster. And man, when you can humble yourself and look at somebody that you're in business with and say, hey man, I just want you to know I love you today. There's power in that. My wife constantly teaches me that. And to see, Jennifer and I have 8 children combined. Can you imagine? We need one more and we got a baseball team. But anyway, it's just so powerful. Love is so powerful, and when you can sincerely tell somebody, hey man, I love you today and I'm thinking about you and so forth, it's just really powerful. So Tony Fightmaster, how are things going with you? Tony's VP of development at a Christian college up in Bourbonnais, Illinois. Tony, say a few words.
Hey, Joe. It's good to be on. I wasn't sure I could jump on today, Joe, as I texted you this morning, but it's good to be on, and I'm great to hear Miles and some of these other reports. It's encouraging to me. Yeah, I'm dressed up today because I'm going to a ribbon cutting. We have a new business opening in our town, Chick-fil-A, and one of my donors is the one that owns it, and they've been given to the university here for years. And so I'm going to be going to that ribbon cutting here in just a little bit. And I'm just sitting here thinking, after listening to Miles and some of the other folks, what I do with gold and silver is kind of a long play. I checked my portfolio the other day. We checked it, and it's up 22%, which is pretty good, but that's not exactly, I want to diversify, as I've shared with you, Joe. And, I'm in the E quadrant here. I work, this is a job, it's part of my mission, but I'm on the E quadrant of Robert Kiyosaki here, Trading Time for Money. But it's part of my mission. So I probably will never retire from what I'm doing here at the university. I feel like it's part of my calling. But I also have created and worked on creating incomes through the S quadrant, the B quadrant, and the I quadrant. And so when I look at what we do with gold and silver, and then hear a little bit about this digital piece of it, and I think that's tied to day trading. And there's just amazing things that are happening today. So I'm wide open. I feel like I'm always willing to say that I'm ignorant in most of these areas. So I'm always curious and interested. That's why I wanted to hear what Miles shared there, and I need to get back with my buddies. I mean, I've invested money, but I don't know what I've invested in yet. So I'm learning. It's great to be here, though. Bye.
That's great. Well, good luck with your ribbon cutting ceremony, and thanks for joining us today. Dawn, how are you?
I am well.
Good.
Very well. How you doing?
Good. Give us an update on what Dawn is doing.
Well, I went to a place called Thrive. Thrive, there's a couple places on Long Island that offer volunteer services to people who are in recovery. It's like a big, they can eat and they can hang out and they can play pool. And I had noticed, I had talked to someone like a year ago that they offer yoga classes. So I went there because I have permission to teach now as a Tai Chi Gong instructor. And I went there to offer my services, and I have my first gig.
Wow.
First Friday in October. And I'm going to go to the other ones on the island because there's a couple of them. And I'm going to get my foot in the door and get used to teaching, person to person, in person, before I start, asking to be paid for it, because I just feel I want to get my foot in the door, and it's a perfect opportunity. I'll be giving to these people, teaching them a system that is transformative.
Wonderful.
Near and dear to my heart, because I have a brother who passed away from alcoholism. Perfect.
Oh, well, I'm so proud of you. Now, this is a teaching moment. I want you guys to listen to me very carefully. Anytime you start something new, taking that first step and somebody telling you no is a very difficult part. Now, you heard Rachel talk about her son going to Piggly Wiggly. It was hard for him to do that, but he did it anyway. And he felt so good about himself when it was over, right? And so did his mom, right? And so I remember starting my transportation company. I was actually afraid to call on the customers that I needed, who were going to supply what I needed to support my family. It's that fear. It's that what you think is really going to happen that doesn't happen, right? And so I applaud you for doing that. And I'll tell you another story. When I started my business, I was like 23 years old. And man, I was frightened. And I would go to visit these customers, and I figured that being young was one strike against me because they didn't think I had any experience. And so I would tell them I was older than I was, and I would cross my fingers and ask God to forgive me. But it felt so good when I would contact someone and they would edify me for thanking me for coming to see them and thanking me for being serious about my business. And sooner or later, things started to fall into place. I just kept going. I would take that experience that you just talked about, Dawn, and that experience, that good response would take me to the next experience and great response. Isn't that cool how that works?
Absolutely. I already have a list. I'm just going to fill up my schedule, and I'm just going to start teaching. I'm just going to.
That's right. That's right. And one of the things that hold people back, and I'm going to talk about it today, is what other people think about what you're doing. You want to do something new in your life, and someone that might be in your circle of influence thinks that's not a good idea for you. But it doesn't matter what they think. It matters what you think, and it matters what you've been called to do. And so I applaud you for doing what you're doing, because I see the enthusiasm in your eyes, and I see the the energy in you for doing what you're doing. So I'm very proud of you. Great. Great. I'm proud of you. Anybody else want to make any comments today? You know me, I like to get around. Anybody else want to make any comments?
Yeah, Joe, I would for a second. I think it's a terrific idea for people to check it out. But I always recommend on anything that has to do with crypto when it first gets started to invest what you can afford to lose. And also, like Jerry said, put some money in and then take your original stake out, and then that way you're playing on their money, not on your money too. So that's always a good idea. So I thought that was very, very in depth, Jerry. Good recommendation, because I've recommended that on a couple of things, and that keeps people from getting hurt in the beginning. And then you could always reinvest.
That's very wise counsel, Tom. I haven't heard that. That's really wise. I mean, and you hear about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and I'm not an expert in that. I don't intend to be, but we have some investment in that. But I'm learning as well, and so learn from people like Tom Armour on that, and that's why we do this call. So thank you for that input, Tom. What do you think about Bitcoin? That somebody brought up Bitcoin. Can you elaborate a little bit on Bitcoin? I know it seems like it's being played in the market pretty strong.
Oh, absolutely, and it goes up and down. The thing that makes Bitcoin great is that it is volatile. It's stable as far as an investment over the long term. Year over year, it always increases, but it goes up and down, which is why people like it so much, because when you work it on an arbitrage, there's enough movement that I can make more money on arbitrage on a Bitcoin in a month than you can make on most stocks in a year, because it moves a lot.
Yes.
But that also makes it risky, so people can lose money. So you need to be careful and make sure that you're trading it in places that you can have stop losses and be able to not lose money. So, we don't want people losing money, because that gives the whole industry a bad image.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I am not at all negative on the industry. I believe in the crypto market more than anything else, because it's a way to transact business around the world. I mean, Joe, you remember when I started a company over in India, and it took me a couple of $100,000 in 2 years to get corporations set up and bank accounts to be able to transfer money in and out of India. And with crypto, I could have done it in 30 seconds. Could have set up a wallet and had people transferring me money and things going there back and forth all over the place instantly, if I had known about it back then. So I think it's a fantastic vehicle, just people to use it properly. That's all. So, use it with where you're covering your risk and you're making sure that you're not exposed and it's not going to hurt you. That's all.
Yeah.
So
Great. Tom, next week, I'd like for you to update everybody on your NFT business that you do.
Sounds great.
I think that's also fascinating in a new way of the future. And I know Tom Henderson's very familiar with that as well. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add to today's conversation before I go into a little training?
I just wanted to say, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Joseph, for doing this for free. And I just wanted to thank my beloved friend Tracy for introducing me way back in January to Master Lama Rasaji, and for introducing me and sending me the link to be here today. So thank you so much. And it's nice to meet everybody.
Well, thank you, Rhonda. It's a pleasure to have you here, and hope you'll be here every week with us and get encouraged.
yes.
And one thing you guys ought to do is just share the link with people. Hey, join this. It doesn't cost you a nickel. Just be on, because again, people in our society we live in today need to be encouraged. And you know what? My philosophy is everybody's special. Yes.
Can I interrupt you one more time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to everybody, I don't think everybody really appreciates, and I hear people starting to appreciate here how valuable this is. I won't do a business now if I don't have somebody that I can get mentorship from, whether I have to pay for it or not, because I don't want to make the mistakes. I found trial and error is the most expensive way to learn. I'd rather learn from somebody who's been down the road before, and been through it, and not have to make the mistakes. And you always taught me that on edification. I mean, even when I was selling to Disney, I had people that I had trouble getting through to because they were different personalities or in different places on the quadrant, as Tony Fightmaster was talking about on the cash flow quadrant there. I remember standing in his living room talking about cash flow quadrant years and years ago. And all the things that we do over the years. But anyway, I had a hard time getting through to some people, and you taught me, you said, to edify people, talk about them. Is it because it's their favorite subject and they'll think you're smarter because obviously you realized it? And it's always served me well. So edification is a great tool and a great way to live your life, being able to find something you can edify about somebody and do that. And
Amen.
I'm just so thankful to be here because this really makes my week to be able to be on with a group of excited people that are led by a man that's got the right place with the Lord and the right place with business, and keeps his head on straight and keeps us all focused in the right way. So I appreciate you, Joe, and I love you, man.
Thank you, Thomas. It's great to have you on today, and we all really admire you and what you do. And I heard someone say people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you love people and encourage people on the front end, then they might be willing to listen to something you say.
Yep.
And that's just the way I go about my business all day long, every day, all day long. And my mother said to me, and growing up the way we did, my mother was a saint. She said, if you can't find something good to say about someone, just don't say anything. And it's so true. And it's so true. So isn't that amazing? My mother and my wife both have the same temperament and same personality. Isn't that amazing? And so sometimes Jennifer can talk to me about things, and it's almost like I'm listening to my mother, 35 years ago. Because the wisdom is the same. The wisdom is the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So amazing. Jennifer, you have anything to say, honey, before I go into the training?
Yeah, I wanted to congratulate Dawn again on her first position. I think that takes a lot of courage and, a lot of emotion. And, I think you have your heart in the right place, and your brother sees what you're doing. And I think it's super kind of you to, our time is so valuable, and for you to give it freely like that to a group of people who are struggling in life and, just need to be wrapped in your love. So I'm excited for them to, have a life-changing experience being a part of your class, Dawn. I think this is just fabulous, and congratulations. And don't wait too long before you start, setting those fees for those next businesses, because you're worth it. So
yes,
you're definitely worth it. Congratulations.
There's your wisdom.
Thank you. It means a lot.
I'm the fluff, but she's the stuff. Anyway, thanks, honey. That's great wisdom. Okay, let's talk about the 7 places that you should not waste your energy. Everybody got a pen and pencil? The first one, you're gonna love this. Don't waste your energy on the people who don't support you. Don't waste your energy on the people who are not willing to support you in your dream. Are you kidding me? My father said, when people tell me you'll never play professional baseball, my father said, don't pay me any attention. They never done anything. So what he was telling me is, don't waste my energy thinking about what other people are thinking, and not supporting me. Right. And some people call that people pleasing. When you get into that mode and you're wasting your energy on people who don't support you, you're trying to be a people pleaser. Don't do that. Number 2, Don't waste your energy on what others think about you. Isn't that great? You know what other people are thinking? They're just thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you at all. And so you think about what you're doing, and you surround yourself with people who think positively about you, and you go for your dream. So it doesn't matter what other people think about you. It only matters what you think about you and what God thinks about you. So that's the only thing that matters. Number 3 is don't waste your energy on one-sided relationships. On one-sided relationships. Have you ever been in business where you're trying to do all the work for someone and they won't help or anything like that? You're just wasting your time. They're not in it. Their heart's not in it. And what I've learned from those, I'm very careful who my business partners are. And if someone wants to be in business with you and they're not willing to pull their part of the bargain, then don't waste your energy on a one-sided relationship. They're just using you. Number 4, don't waste your energy on people who need you occasionally. How powerful is that? See, I want to be, I have a group of people I talk to every day. And I let them know how important they are to me. And every day I talk to those people. There's some on this call. And so don't waste your time and energy on people who just want to be around you occasionally. I want people to be bought into what I'm doing. Number 5, don't waste your energy on solving problems that are not your own problems. Don't waste your energy on solving problems that are not yours. Somebody calls that trying to fix people. You can't fix people. They have to learn on their own. It's like your children. Sometimes they have to learn their lessons because those are the best teachers. And for me to solve all the problems, nobody learns anything, right? And so sometimes you have to let things happen in solving problems, let them solve their own problems, right? And if you try to always solve something for someone, you're just wearing yourself out. And sometimes I like to say you're interfering with what God's trying to teach that person, right? So number 6 is see how I want to say that. Don't waste your energy on just being distracted. Put your energy toward what it is you've been called to do. There's so many distractions that keep us busy. Focus on what it is you've been called to do. And a lot of times we'll distract ourselves because what we're being called to do is a little bit painful. But where there's pain, there's prosperity. Remember that. Where there's a little bit of pain about me calling that new client, there's prosperity once he comes on board. The pain is only for a moment. And the distraction would be, oh, you know what? I got some busy work over here I can do. Let me do this busy work and I won't call the customer that I really need to call, right? And so don't let things, and we're so distracted today, don't let those distractions keep you from doing what it is you need to be doing. Don't waste your energy on those kind of distractions. Focus your energy on what you've been called to do. And then the 7th thing is, don't waste your energy on impressing someone who's not interested in supporting you or not interested in what you're doing. I remember when I started my transportation company, a lot of my friends said, hey man, why don't you get a job? You don't know anything about transportation. You're going to lose everything you got. And I said to them, I don't have anything. I'm so broke, I can't pay attention. And that's real broke. And I'm going for my dream. And so instead of me trying to impress them about how successful my business could be, I just didn't pay them any attention. I didn't waste my energy on impressing those people who didn't believe and were not interested in what I was trying to do. Is that powerful? And so those are the things, the areas that I would just encourage you not to waste your energy. Focus your energy on being with people who edify you, who encourage you in your dream, and who want you to be all that God's created you to be, and you will be very successful. And my wife does that for me every day, and many of you do that for me, and I thank you for it. And Jennifer and I love you guys, and we want God's highest and best for you. And we're so encouraged by this show every Monday that it just fuels us for the rest of the week. And I just want to thank you all for what you mean to us and our family and our lives, because you've made us better. And you've forced me to be uncomfortable. By being a part of this show, you forced me to be on this and to tell you the things that I've learned the hard way, to share with you my experiences, when probably without this, I wouldn't be sharing this with anybody. And see, that's not what God's plan was. And so I want to share with you and encourage you to be all that you can be. And you're going to look back a month, 2 months, 6 months from now, and you're going to say, wow, this has been amazing. What I've been able to accomplish. Jennifer and I'm going to give you one more thing. I want you to write this down. We get together periodically. We get together and go over our goals and financials and all of that all the time. But we get together periodically and we get a legal pad and a paper, and we write down what we have seen God accomplish for us and our children and our family. It's absolutely amazing. It's like, painting the outside of the house or something that we had planned, and we can now mark it off of our list. Or, getting the car repaired at a certain time, or just all those little things that mean something to you, that somehow the whole heavens are in motion on your behalf, orchestrating the result for you. Isn't that cool? And so if you will write those things down, you will look back. I have a list, a 3-year list that Jennifer and I have been compiling. And when we sit down and we start reading that list, we're just blown away. We're just blown away. You pray for your daughter to go to college, or you pray for this or this, and it all happens. It all happens. And I believe when you have the right heart, you're going to get blessed. So anyway, I love you guys today. I want you to hang on here just a minute. Now, join me next Monday right here, and make sure you send this link out to people, and you encourage them to join us here, because people need to know what we know, and people need to have encouragement. So hold on just one second. I want to end this call.